Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, new media. Make sure you guys smash the like button and also subscribe. And I gotta dead this issue because it's being talked about in boxing circles. I want to give my take on it and just give my perspective for those who want to know. And it's regarding a fight we all want to see, Ward Kovalev 2. Now, there's this notion that Ward is such a diva, he opted to not agree to quote-unquote neutral judges, right? Neutral judges who are from outside of the United States in the rematch, right? And Kathy Duva, main events, they're making a big to-do about this. Like, oh, Ward refused to sign. Now, this really puts me in the mindset of the first fight before the fight, when they had a press conference days after Ward fought Alexander Brand, right? And Kathy Duva got on the horn like, oh, we don't know where Ward is. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to fight Kovalev. I don't know where he's at. And Kathy Duva really made it sound like Ward was pulling out of the fight and people got outraged, made a bunch of videos. Listen, man, this whole neutral judge and Ward's ducking a press conference, and then the very next day she came out and said, oh, Rock Nation notified us that he just had a fight, or he was going to fight, so he wasn't going to be making it. You know what I'm saying? And I see people running with, this is the thing, I told you guys in January, first month of the year, this was going to be a hard 2017 for y'all. And I can already see it is, because there's a lot of writers, you see criticism in their articles when they're writing crazy stuff, or channels, and they don't even make videos anymore, or they don't have any type of viewership numbers, they ain't doing no type of numbers, or Facebook pages, and you see different types of comments. I see it, you know what I'm saying? And I told y'all 2017 was not going to be a kind year. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Now, you can say whatever you want about me. It doesn't matter to me. I was at the fight live. I watched it, played it back at home, and I had Ward winning. Say whatever you want. Doesn't matter to me. I still collect a check at the end of the month. So that's what it is. I really seen Ward winning. I thought Kovalev gassed out, slowed down in the second half. He had a valiant effort. He was a champion. Me and Troy King talked about this. There was an interview where people have this notion, oh, you got to do more to beat the champion. There's nothing in the rules that say you will have to do so much more, because doing so much more is a matter of perspective. What's doing the most or doing more to me is not the same as doing more to you. You know what I mean? And there's nothing in the rules that say if this guy's a champion, you have to knock him down back, or you have to stop him, otherwise those belts aren't yours. It's a 12-round championship fight. You have to win more rounds than that person. The end of discussion, right? People say you have to do more just because it's kind of like unwritten rule or rule of thumb that, hey, if you're fighting in some guy's backyard, then you might have to worry about, like, Errol Spence going to fight Kell Brook. He has to do more to impress the judges. But if you think about it, that shouldn't be it. If Errol Spence, if it's a close fight and you score it, if you're really scoring and you have him winning more rounds, then he should win. He shouldn't. So he has to pummel Kell Brook until he's like falling all over the place and running around the ring or getting knocked out. You don't have to do that. You have to win more rounds, period. And that's what it was with the Ward Kovalev fight. It was a good affair. It was a good fight. We're getting a rematch, but people still want to complain. Now, I got to talk about this whole neutral judges and this whole like propaganda. Ward already addressed it. Ward, I think on the Los Angeles presser, he said Kathy Duva's bringing up this issue now, but she signed off for it. So it's making headlines about, oh, Ward, he's a diva and he didn't want neutral judges. He refused to pick judges from outside of the United States. Like, it sounds utterly ridiculous, because one, they're fighting in the United States, right? So you mean to tell me that they can't have any United States judges because they're all going to do Kovalev bad? But for all of Kovalev's fights, when he was fighting even in the U.S., like when he fought Muhammad in Las Vegas, this was never an issue. When Chilemba went to Russia, there was no like, oh, neutral judges for Chilemba, or there was no like judge talk, if you will. When Kovalev was going to, he's a road warrior. He fought Pascal in Pascal's second home of Canada. There was no judge talk. Now all of a sudden it's judge. Oh, we want neutral judges. So Ward brought up an excellent point. If this was such a major issue, why would you sign off for that fighter? Why couldn't you be like, hey, we tried to make a deal, but Ward didn't want these judges? You know what I mean? So you can't sign off for something and then be mad at it. If I go to Costco and apply for a job and they say, hey, we want you on the night crew, we're going to offer you $10.50 an hour, and I read over the contract and the paperwork and complete the drug test and I sign for $10.50, I can't be mad the first day of work like, man, I should have got more money. That's what I signed to. That's what I agreed to. Same thing with Kathy, Duva, Kovalev. If judges was such an issue, then how did it get past negotiations to an actual fight where we have a press tour? And second, it's absurd to all of a sudden, you didn't do this in the Bernard Hopkins fight. He was an American fighter who has a long legacy in the sport. And all of a sudden for the second fight, we need neutral judges that aren't from the United States, but we're fighting in Las Vegas in the United States. But we can't have no, you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense. That's like me, let's say I'm a little tiny guy and I'm going to fight Zhao Shiming in China. And that's like me saying, oh, we don't want no Chinese judges, right? It can't be no Chinese judges going against Zhao Shiming. You know what I mean? Kell Brook, Errol Spence. Errol Spence, he's a U.S. Olympian, but he's going to fight in hostile territory. Kell Brook is the A side in the equation. He's the champion, right? He has the better resume. He's fought at least Golovkin, even though he came up short, and he fought Sean Porter for the title. That's more than the names that are on Errol Spence's current resume. Errol Spence has to just kind of accept his role, and he's the mandatory. He's going overseas because that's where there's going to be money, and that's where the fight was offered to him. So that's what he has to do. Same thing with the Kovalev Ward situation. Whether they agree or not, he lost the first fight. 3 American judges seen him losing the fight. As a result, he is no longer undefeated. He has 1 loss, and he doesn't have his belts. Facts. So you inherit the role of the B side. It doesn't matter if you don't agree with it or not, right? When Floyd Mayweather beat Oscar De La Hoya, I thought he beat him, but some people said, like De La Hoya himself said, he thinks he beat Floyd. But he did the same thing as Kovalev. Second half, he slowed down a touch. You know what I mean? Slowed down a taste. And it doesn't matter what De La Hoya, if he believes he won Floyd, the judges didn't have you winning. They had you losing a split decision or whatever. This is Money May. Now he calls the shots, right? When Floyd was fighting De La Hoya was the golden boy, and he was the cash cow, and he got to choose the ring size. He had the lion's share of the purse. He got to choose the, I'm sure, different aspects of the fight, right? Just like Hagler versus Sugar Ray or any of these fights. So, I mean, it's kind of the role, whether you agree with you losing the fight or not. That's what happens when you're the B side. If you lose, you're the B side. And not everyone believes Kovalev won. And I don't even care if people believe he won, because it's a good fight. It's a close fight. I didn't see him winning, and there's a ton of other people that believe Ward won. So it's that type of fight, which is why we're getting a rematch. Now, this is another thing, because I watch one of my favorite series is Forensic Files. And I feel like if I wasn't doing this, I'm real interested in that type of like criminal law and the psyche, and you have to look at it, man. They bring in these like forensic pathologists, and they be like, okay, this girl got killed and the killer put a pillow over her face. That's an indication that he knew the victim, because he felt remorseful after he strangled her and raped her and killed her. He put a pillow over her face, and they can look at different clues and be like, the victim lived here, so this guy knew her, and he lived within a 10-mile radius of this home. That I could tell by these clues, right? And that's what I try to do when I look at just life in general. I like try to break down the puzzles and look at these different pieces. That's why I'm telling you this little backstory. But you got to look at it. to me, main events, Kovalev and his promoter, Kathy Duva, they're throwing out this kind of propaganda. One, like Ward said, they've already signed off to it. So now why are you bringing it up? And dumbass writers and people are making this like it's a big deal, but she signed off to do that. You know what I mean? Ward already did it justice, but I'm gonna give you guys something else to think about. If this was an issue, why would you sign off for it for your fighter? Oh, we want non-American judges. It's just something to put out there. So if you don't get the decision, or if it's another close fight, then you already planted the seed. That's in the back of people's mind. Oh, Kovalev wanted neutral judges if it's another close fight where it's hard to decipher who won. Second thing, A side, B side, we all know it. Chavez Jr., he got a raw deal versus Canelo. Canelo's the A side, that's what happens. Same thing with Golovkin. They're saying 15 mil, and now it might not be 15 mil to fight Canelo because he's not producing good pay-per-view numbers. That is the nature of the beast. A side versus B side. Kovalev lost, he's a B side. Now, this is the final thing that I want you guys to really embrace, forensic files style, right? Look at the psyche of what's being said. Aside from premeditating and kind of throwing that out there just in case it is another close fight. Now you can say, oh, hey, we already put this out there about the judges. You got to look at it like this. What has Kovalev been saying all press conference? I'm not going to leave it to judges. I'm your God. I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to finish what I started, basically, right? I'm paraphrasing. But that's what he said. So you got to put the puzzle pieces together. If Kovalev is saying he's going to destroy and knock out Ward, then why would you even care about neutral judges? Because it's not even going to the judges. You said you were going to knock him out. You know what I'm saying? So something's not adding up. You say you're going to knock somebody out, but then you're doing interviews complaining about neutral judges. And again, it's almost laughable to not expect U.S. judges in a U.S. fight. Nobody out of the three panelists or the three judges, no one could be from the United States, right? Bad judging is bad judging. But this fight with Ward Kovalev they all had it close. It was like 114, 113 across the board. Nobody had it a landslide. This was not Canelo Lara, Levi Martinez's 117 to 111 card, or CJ Ross's card versus Canelo versus Mayweather saying it was a draw when we clearly know Floyd schooled and dogged Canelo, right? It was nothing like that. It was close on all three judges' scorecard. Now it's this big to-do about neutral judges. Get out of here. And then again, at the other hand is, why are you so concerned about judges if you're going to knock the person out? That's what you're saying. You know what I mean? It's just like a knockout, and I promise everybody this is what I'm doing, and I'm not going to gas out this time. So again, I don't understand. It's just you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say you're going to knock somebody out, but then be worried about the judges, because if you knock them out, then judges don't even come into play. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's not making sense. And again, like Ward said, Team Kovalev, they signed off. They agreed, and they said Ward's hard to work with or whatever, but you agreed to these terms. You agreed to, in order to make the fight, so you got to make those championship adjustments. But it's, like I said, 2017 is not going to be forgiving and a fun year for some of y'all that don't tell the truth, because that's what it is. I constantly see this in boxing, and it's usually with, a lot of times it's with black fighters or minority fighters, mostly black fighters that I've seen, where there's all these built-in excuses and scapegoats, but the talk is not matching the excuses. For example, Floyd Mayweather, for 5 years, we all debated about who would win, Floyd Mayweather versus Pacquiao. Nobody was in agreement. Some people said Pacquiao by knockout. Pacquiao was going to beat him and knock him down and win a decision. Some people said Floyd's going to school him easy. And for 5 years, we waited. Floyd and Pacquiao finally get it together and announce the fight. Floyd puts it on his, well, I don't even know what happened to his app Shots, but at the time he put it on Shots and showed the contract. Oh, I'm fighting Pacquiao, right? Then all of a sudden, it's of all the talk from people who were saying Pacquiao is going to knock Floyd out. All of a sudden is, oh, this should have happened 5 years ago. It's too late for this fight now. But you just said before the fight was announced, when they're at the Miami Heat game and all this, that you believe Pacquiao was going to knock him out. So why wasn't it too late then? Why would you pick Pacquiao by knockout? But now all of a sudden, once it's finalized and you see, oh, the shit just got real. Now all of a sudden it should have happened. Or you bring up Kenny Bayless. Oh, Kenny's just he's gonna protect Floyd, and the judges, Mayweather paid him off. Those sound like excuses. And meanwhile, you have a guy like Errol Spence Jr. He's facing a hostile crowd, a champion in Kell Brook, and I ain't heard one word about Errol Spence complaining about getting robbed or mad that he has to risk his O, or he wants neutral non-UK judges. You see how crazy that would sound? That's like really picture this. If Errol Spence signed the contract to fight Kell Brook, Eddie Hearn presented his team and Heyman or whatever with the contract. Errol Spence said, I'm confident I could beat him. Contracts are signed. And then after, really put the shoe on the other foot. After the contract is signed, we got a fight date. We know where it's going to happen in Sheffield. And then Errol Spence and his promoter or his trainer, they're saying, oh man, we want neutral judges. And Kell Brook, he wouldn't allow non-English or British or UK judges. He didn't want to sign off for it. Then you shouldn't have signed. If you felt that worried about getting robbed, then maybe you have to negotiate longer or whatever. But to me, it just sounds like a patsy. It sounds like something to put in the air just in case it's a close fight or whatever. You can always fall back on that. But that stuff doesn't work anymore. You got to show and prove. And again, when you start analyzing the psychology behind it, what's being said is not equating. It's not adding up. If you say you're going to knock a man out, then there is no need for neutral judges because you neutrally knocked them out. You know what I'm saying? And last but not least, I got to say this. In the matter of this whole neutral judges thing, I understand boxing doesn't always get it right. Sometimes there's miscalculations or horrible scorecards turned in, robberies, stuff like that. This wasn't one of those. Like I said, all three judges had it a close fight. And it undermines the Nevada State Athletic Commission as basically like they're incompetent to place. Now, again, boxing doesn't always get it right. I'm a realist, but the people are there to judge a fight, and they're supposed to be neutral already. You know what I'm saying? So you're asking for people outside of the country or whatever. How's that ensure that they would be neutral just because you're not from the U.S.? What if they're huge Ward fans? You know what I'm saying? So that doesn't even really make sense to me. And it, like I said, it kind of undermines the Nevada State Athletic Commission, because Andre Ward, this is not a wedding where a girl picks out who her groom's women are, and like a man picks out his best man and the ring, who's going to carry the ring. This is not, Ward doesn't pick his own judges. You don't, hey, I want him to judge my fight. We shot pool together the other week. You know what I'm saying? You don't pick your own judges. So people making this big deal about neutral judge and the controversy or whatever from the first fight. Ward doesn't pick his judges. He just didn't agree to go above and beyond and ask for judges who are non-American, which it sounds absurd. Like I said, you can't go to China or the UK and ask for people who are not locals, or at least from that same country. You know what I'm saying? So it just sounds crazy. People are making it like Ward's picking the judges, like he gets to pick the three judges who's going to cover the fight. And like I said, it just undermines the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Like, they're just so incompetent that they purposefully have people that are trying to protect Ward. Now, like I said, tell the truth. Tell the truth. You got to look at it. Listen to what people say. Listen to the psychology. First, people say, Andre Ward, he's boring. Nobody likes to watch him. He can't sell out his mother's living room in Oakland, and he's inactive. They say all these things, but then they make it like Ward is just getting this special treatment on the judge side because everyone loves Ward. Everyone's pro Ward. But I just thought you said that he's so boring. Kovalev has a fun style. Kovalev gets knockouts. He's aggressive. He can box. You know what I mean? So it sounds like a scapegoat that they're trying to pre-build, and it sounds like a bit of worry to do all this because, again, first they say Ward is boring and he fights dirty and clinches, but then now all of a sudden when the things don't go Kovalev's way, it's because there's so much corruption. Even though all three judges had it a close fight, it's so much corruption and they just naturally favored the American fighter. No, You look at it, Kovalev's other fights, even Isaac Chilemba, he didn't look particularly great, but he had a knockdown in that fight, and he had cleaner, the rounds were easier to score, who got what round, and he clearly won that fight. This was different because Ward actually stood up to the bully, was raking Kovalev's body. Kovalev didn't like the inside work, and he had a good jab, so it was more of a rough and tumble, harder to score fight. Pascal, those aren't hard to score. Rounds like that, it was just so happens you got two elite guys, and they gave it their all, and it was a good fight. It was a close fight. And not everything's going to be squeaky clean, but they're trying to make it like as if everyone's out to get Kovalev. Like, oh, everyone hates Kovalev. He's a fun fighter. He's a good fighter. He's a fun fighter to watch. And it's just funny to see people flip-flop. First, nobody cares about Ward because he's too inactive and he's a diva and his style is boring. But then you complain that everybody loves Ward and they're judging it solely because he's an American. But they don't care he's American any other time when they're rooting for the other person. So now all of a sudden, when it comes to judges, everyone loves him. You know what I mean? It's crazy to hear what people say. Let me know what you guys think. That's just my thoughts on the situation, because I see a bunch of people trying to take this narrative and run with it. I'm hoping for a good fight in the rematch. I'm hoping for a clean victor where there's no controversy and we get a rightful winner. If that's Kovalev, then it's Kovalev. If it's Andre Ward, then it's Andre Ward. But all this mumbo jumbo about neutral judges after you agreed to it, plus you said you're gonna knock him out, so judges wouldn't even matter. Dead that doesn't even make sense. It's an excuse, a built-in excuse. Drop it in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.